If you crack open a history book, you might notice that superhero movies really began to penetrate Hollywood right around the time of the Great Depression. Evidently, even though heroes have capabilities that the average person does not, they still seem to revive the American spirit. And when America needed some reviving during the late 30s, superhero films provided inspiration and comfort. In the context of film comedies, superhero comedies are, as you probably guessed, a hybrid genre. They combine the superhero action subgenre and comedy genre, and they blend a little drama, thriller, and romance in there as well. Now, comedy is no stranger to superhero movies, perhaps to somewhat sugarcoat the political undertones of the American necessity for rescue. But in 2016, there was one movie in particular that really shook things up, and that's Deadpool. While the main actors in Deadpool are understandably mostly action, drama, and thriller genre actors, they certainly suited up for some laughs with this film. Deadpool is an undeniably hybridized superhero comedy, but in a very particular way. It's pretty easy to conclude, even by looking at the film's promotion, that Deadpool's character is comedically hypersexualized. That comedy, however, is rooted in both the disempowerment of homosexuality and the expression of hypersexual masculinity that always gives Deadpool the upper hand. If these movies are inherently rooted in fear and the need for a hero, perhaps then we can argue that Deadpool is a hero for the anxious, white, heterosexual man who is feeling unsteady thanks to subversive dialogue surrounding hegemonic power that has entered Americans' consciousness. To begin, I'm going to break the wall for a second. After honing in on this theme, I ended up with 5 pages of content. That's a lot of sex jokes. Now, the film is rated R, so I'm guessing the audience can handle it, but what I couldn't handle was the ideological undertones of this comedy. One of the first things you may notice is that Deadpool always utilizes hypermasculinity in the form of sexualization to control dangerous, emotional, or unsettling situations. Basically, whenever he is vulnerable, he adopts an unfiltered and erotic humor. Traditionally, men have always used primal markers as forms of power, whether it be sexual endowment, conquests, or ability. Particularly in U.S. society, where boys will be boys is basically the universal mantra, linking sex with power is a form of male dominance. Let's look at some examples.
I've never said this, but don't swallow. What's up with the matches? Oral fixation?
Screw, please.
Here? Now? Just kidding. Every time I see her, it's like the first time. Especially from this angle. I'm not the same underneath this suit either. Super penis.
Come on, Wade, language.
All of these scenes and the jokes in them have one thing in common. Deadpool is in a vulnerable situation. He's either outnumbered by bad guys, fearfully being detained, emotionally intimate, or extremely insecure. So the approach he uses to convince the audience that he, the hero, is still in control is through raunchy male humor. In addition to the emphasis on reclaiming masculinity and dignity through primal humor, Deadpool's comedy also evokes themes of homoeroticism in ways that return the power to the heterosexual male. Every time Deadpool includes homoerotic overtones to his comedy, he does so for 3 potential reasons: to intimidate an adversary with the thought of gay sex, to insult someone by associating them with homosexuality, or to imply embarrassment, which inevitably invokes anger and aggression. And maybe just for a reiteration, the director also threw in a sex scene in which pegging is met with outright disgust. Check out these clips.
Leave a book in her general direction again, and you will learn in the worst of ways that I have some hard spots too. That came out wrong. Or did it?
Language, please.
Give you a chance. We all to lay down your firearms in exchange for preferential, bordering on gentle, possibly even lover-like treatment.
You big chrome cock gobbler.
That's not nice.
Whipped cream. I give you a blowjob. Why do you make me make that?
Kelly. Take that over to Buck, please, and tell him it's from Booth. Little foreplay.
Remind me what good will come of this?
I don't take the shits, they're just disturbing. Cheers.
International Women's Day.
Every day of the year.
Clear up, no.
No. No.
In each of these scenes, Deadpool's homoerotic humor has negative connotations: intimidation, verbal abuse, or humiliation. Using the humor in this way and framing homosexuality in consistently negative lights is instantly disempowering and perpetuates inequality and bigotry. Evidently, however, it keeps the heterosexual male on his heroic pedestal. So, what does this all mean for superheroes and comedy? Well, Deadpool is ranked in the top 15 of the highest grossing superhero comedies to date, and there's a sequel on its way. As columnist Sean Hutchinson states, who knew incessant superhero dick jokes could do that? Evidently, people enjoy comedies that adopt archaic, male centric, heteronormative, sexually oppressive characters. I suppose the real question to ask is, who is Deadpool a hero for, and who of us really needs saving?